I can't count. Why do they let me teach children? I'm coming to you today with my ring light reflection in my glasses, so we're going to fix that. I'm coming to you today with the top 10 books that I need to finish and or read before the end of 2020, because it's September. 2020 is going to be over soon. Thank God. So yeah, we're going to dive right into the list. I've got my notebook right here. I'm going to read off the book titles and I'll put the pictures of them right here. The first book I need to read before 2020 is over is Raybearer by Jordan E. Fueco. I just got this book a couple of weeks ago, and I'm really excited to read it. It's pretty high up on my TBR, and if I finish all the books that I need to for the Yonsei-a-thon before September is over, I will definitely see if Raybearer qualifies for any of the prompts, and if it doesn't, I'll probably still read it. The next book on my list is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. I saw the cover of this book, and it's gorgeous. And that's what I thought to myself when I saw the cover of this book. And then I read the synopsis / little blurb, and it's basically a reimagined King Arthur legend, and that was one of my favorite things to read when I was growing up, were the King Arthur myths and the Knights in Camelot and the Round Table, and that was like my whole life when I was in 5th grade. So to get that reimagined with a black character, okay. Next book, Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky by Kwame Umbalia. I have this book. I got it a few weeks ago, and I need to read it because the sequel to it is coming up very soon. Basically, it's about this young boy, Tristan, who kind of gets sucked into this land with African myths and African gods and deities, and I'm really excited to read that. And I also already know it. He's dealing with like the trauma of having lost one of his close friends. That's something that's very near and dear to my heart. So I'm very excited to read that book, and I will hopefully get to it before the sequel comes out, which I think is sometime in October. Don't quote me on that. Okay. Next book. This should come as a shock to no one, is Stardordo by Shweta Thakkar. I got this book, and then I got in the Owl Crate box for August. I got it in the Owl Crate box for August. September hasn't come yet. And I completely lost it because the Owl Crate cover is beautiful. So that one is another one that's very high on my list of books that I need to read before 2020 is over. Next book, Ironheart by Nina Varela. I read Crier's War. It broke my heart. It was beautifully queer. I loved that. I also loved kind of like the discussion of like what it means to be human and those themes that were woven through it. So I'm really excited to read Ironheart. Okay, next book, Theguinevere Deception by Kirsten White. So this book is on here, and again, I have it. I think I got it in an Owl Crate box. And as I said in my mid-year book freakout tag, I think most of the books that are unread of mine are probably Owl Crate books. But I really want to read The Guinevere Deception because the sequel is coming out soon. It's either later this year or earlier next year. And again, anything that has to do with the King Arthur legends, the King Arthur myths, I am all over. Okay, this next one. Book Twitter, don't come for me. Amber, don't come for me. Bookstagram, don't come for me. Just don't. So, if you follow me on Instagram, you go a little back. I had posted about this book when I had started reading it, and then I didn't DNF it. I just didn't keep reading it. It was right at the beginning of last school year. I had just started a new job, and I kind of hit a bit of a reading slump. But we're going to get to this book before the end of 2020 and actually read it and finish it because the sequel comes out next year, and that book is We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faizal. Yeah, everyone's been talking about this book. I started reading it, and again, as I said, things got kind of topsy-turvy. I started a new teaching gig at the end of last summer, and I never finished it. But we're going to fix that. Going to fix it. Okay. The next one is Incendiary by Zoraida Cordova. I haven't had it for that long though. It came in an Owl Crate box. And the cover for the sequel just got revealed yesterday. Or if you're watching this 2 days ago, because this video isn't going to go up until Thursday. But the cover for the sequel is absolutely gorgeous, and I need to read Incendiary so I'm prepared for the sequel. So that's 1. That's 8. I can't count. Why do they let me teach children? Okay, the next book on my list is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. Now, this book was a book that I found out about through Book Twitter, and unfortunately I found out about it because there were a lot of people who were apparently coming for the book and saying it wasn't a good book, and I think people had deduced that people were saying that because they didn't understand the historical themes that were woven through it, or people weren't interested in those historical themes. And for those of you who don't know, The Poppy War is a grim, dark fantasy set in mid-20th century China during a conflict with Japan. And I think it's really unfortunate that people don't take the time to learn these things or learn the history behind a book they decide to read, and then decide to come for the book and say it's not a good book because they chose not to read up on that history or chose not to find out more of what the book was about. Don't come for a book if you can't take the time to try and understand it. That's not on the author, that's not on other readers, that's on you for not taking the time to try to understand a book or find out more about its history. Don't come for books like that. If you don't like a book, okay, you don't like a book, but it's not the author's fault that you couldn't take the time to read up on a historical conflict or try and read something that would give you more insight to what the book was about. So that's The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I don't have that book yet. I'm going to get it at some point. I'm going to get the book at some point, and then I'm going to read it. So that's that. And the last book that is on here is A Thief Among the Trees, which is a prequel. It's a graphic novel prequel to An Ember in the Ashes. It follows Helene, Elias, and I am blanking out on the other character's name, during their year as fivers at the Blackcliff Academy. And I want to read it before A Sky Beyond the Storm comes out in December? I'm pretty sure it's December. Anyway, those are the top 10 books that I would like to read before 2020 is over and we go into 2021. I am participating in the Yonsei-a-thon, so I have books that I'm reading for that right now. And like I said, if I finish those books, then I'm going to read Raybearer, and I'm reading Legendborn as soon as it comes here. I'm going to go because I have to leave for work soon. It is my last day to finish setting up my classroom because school starts tomorrow, which is terrifying. I hope you enjoyed this video. Weekly vlogs are hopefully coming back soon, just between getting ready for work and getting ready for work. I haven't been weekly vlogging as much. I am in the middle of reading Reaper at the Gates, and I am not ready for my heart to be destroyed. So that wraps it up for this video. I have some other small videos planned to film in the next coming days because, again, I'm going back to work, so weekly vlogging might be on the back burner for a while. Say hi to Gengar. So yeah, give a like, give a subscribe if you feel so inclined, and I will see everyone in the next video. Bye!